Welcome to Expert Matters. I am your host, Shruti Bora, and today I have a guest for you. A guest who has gone from customer management to leading product strategy for millions of users. We have Naveen Ramchandani with us. He's the head of product. And in just a few minutes, we'll hear his journey, the skills that matter most in product management, and his advice for students and freshers looking to break into it. So let's jump right into it. Thank you so much, Naveen, for joining us today. It's a pleasure to connect with you.
Hey Shruti, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's really great to be here. So, quickly, I just like to start.
Yes,
If you
please.
told me if you told me 15 years ago that I'd be leading a product in a fast-growing tech startup, I would have laughed. Back then, I was I was just starting my journey with Just Dial. I used to take calls. I used to go part-time, take calls, people asking for restaurant numbers, people asking for cinema, movie show timings and other things. So that is where I start from, as a information retrieval officer is what they called it. So that was my only job. But along the way, curiosity got the better of me. I started asking, why things were built in the way they were. You know, that one habit of asking why slowly took me from, you know, becoming an information retrieval officer to a quality analyst to a product analyst, and then eventually building and leading teams that now ship products which are consumed by millions of users. So today I'm here happy to share my story, the wins, the misses, and the mindset shifts that I have made, over years to make it possible. So really looking forward for it, and thanks for having me here.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And we are equally thrilled to have you. My first and foremost question to you is what you just mentioned that, you started in a customer support role and now you're leading product teams. So
Right.
what mindset shifts made the biggest difference? Because it's not an easy transition from starting to a very junior role in the industry and to becoming a leader, and that to product management. So what was the mindset shift you had?
Right. So as I said, right, when I was in my first role, right, I didn't even know what was product management, right? My only focus was, just go part time, do my job and kind of just move out. But gradually, I had an opportunity to move into a quality assurance role. And while I was in quality assurance role, I was just a young kid who was curious to know why and how things are working. So my first mindset shift over there was to understand that, okay, this is how the software industry works. And now I am a quality analyst. So I'll be, testing something, I will be verifying something which goes out and people start using it. So that was the first mindset shift. But definitely the next jump, right, while doing even QA, while becoming a quality analyst, the next jump or the next mindset shift happened 6 months later, where I thought that, okay, now enough of, doing and verifying things and shipping out, but now understanding, okay, why that was happening, why are we really going ahead with this? So, the first time when someone said, hey, Naveen, that's actually a great idea, let's try it. I still remember how it felt, because obviously while doing QA, I also gave back feedback saying that, okay, why are we doing this? Let's do this. So at that time, my CPO, Mr. Sandeep Kanchan, he was like, okay, you know what, it's a great idea. Let's just try this, what you're saying. So that was the first time when I realized that I could influence in what gets built, not just check and, get it done after that. So
Right.
each career step after that has been a mental shift, the way you're saying, right from execution to ownership to leadership. And if you ask me personally, the hardest one is learning as a leader that, my success is measured, not by what I personally deliver, but by what the team delivers when I'm not in a room. So over a course of time, yes, there are a lot of shifts that have happened. I think we'll talk through it in more detail further.
Definitely. You took the opportunity that came into your way. So it's one of the biggest and the hardest decision for anybody to take. So I think that's a brilliant move. And at the same time, when you first moved into product, what skills helped you stand out? Because you definitely started as a fresher.
Right.
So students who are watching this, they are also majorly freshers and people who have a few years of experience. So what should they focus on beyond technical skills when they start their career?
So, if you ask me personally, right, let's say I'll start with a non-technical aspiring PM, right? If you're an MBA student, right? I would first, say that master the art of, maybe product storytelling. If you can't make someone feel what your idea is or what your vision is, right? Then you're not there. But if you can just make them feel what you're thinking, right? You're halfway there, you know? So that is the first thing, that you should be clear at least what you want to build, what you want to do. You should have some clear prioritizations. The second thing was obviously, you should understand there are nowadays there are so many people doing with so many ideas. So there'll be 20 to 30 ideas floating in your head itself. So you have to prioritize in your head also, like, okay, what am I doing, where am I doing, what is necessary, and when is it necessary, right? And the third thing I would say is, stakeholder management, or, maybe talking to your colleagues. So whenever you're starting out, right, there are so many experienced people in your organization, right, who are around there. So talk to them, manage them, understand them. Now, I've been in rooms where marketing really wants speed, technology wants stability, right? And the founder still wants innovation. So me being in the room, I still have decided, I still have to leave that room with one clear decision, like, okay, should I help marketing, should I help tech, or should I, be with the founder? So these
Correct.
three things, if you just want me to summarize, is first, have your own, product storytelling capability, what you want to do. Second, have prioritization, so you are again clear set. And third, stakeholder management, understand that, okay, what people also want, right? So you manage things. That is how people will then start asking you, you know like, hey, Naveen, you tell me what is your view, because they now know that, okay, you're clear, at least your thought process is clear. So those are the
Definitely.
crucial things I think everyone should, regardless of PM or non-PM, should have this.
Amazing. You work in a very dynamic role. You have to support multiple teams. And at the same time, you have to make sure you prioritize your bandwidth really well and balance the stakeholder decisions as well.
Correct.
So at Love Local, you have rolled out very, huge features, big features like UPI payments, etc. So
Right.
how do you choose what to build when different teams want different things at the same time?
So again, as I said, right, a part of it, your prioritization and how your thought process is clear, right? So rightly, as you said, while in my last stint at Love Local, right, we had 10 things to do. We were 10 things of fighting for attention at once, right? The 1 week that we were talking. So we had to do the UPI, UPI integration. We had to run a referral program, which we had to revamp. Then we also had a shop front design, right, where people actually add products to the cart. We had to redesign that. So all were on the table, right? My approach, or basically typically the ideal approach, should always be looking at the data, right? uh, it is always where either there are two things that you should get in return, either retention, or either gate experience. So that is when we look back at the data, right? We said, okay, UPI drop-offs were just higher and they're difficult to ignore, right? That's where you realize prioritization. And a simple way of, getting through your work done is not about saying this is better. It's about saying that, this will hurt us more if we delay it. So even when we prioritize and when we go to the stakeholder, right? When we go with an authority saying that, what, I feel this is better, we should go ahead with this. People might in the stakeholder management take it in the other way around, right? Because you may have seniors, you may have, other team members, you may have other things, and they would feel that, oh, why is my product or why is my feature not important, and why is this person think this is important? So all you can say is, what, it's not that this is better, it's just that if we do this, then if we don't do this, this is going to hurt us more compared to the other things. So then everyone in the room or every team kind of understands, okay, yes, what is more impactful, what is less impactful. That is how you balance it. So that was the same approach at Love Local. We saw that user empathy, we saw that engagement, but again, retention and revenue, 2 hours is what you always look at. So that's
Correct.
one way we went about it.
That's a very strong statement you have just mentioned, that data plus empathy, that's a very clear and practical way to make any kind of decision, not just product decisions. So that's a very strong advice. Like you mentioned that you build multiple products, you
Right.
build both in B2B and B2C products as well.
Correct.
What's the main difference in approach into both, and how deep should a product manager go into analytics tools as well?
Got it. So I'll just split the questions. I'll answer the B2B and B2C part
Yes,
first.
please.
So if you ask me, B2C is like a marathon where every second counts, where every lap counts, right? If you kind of trip, thousands of drop-offs will happen. It's like a real-time consumer facing. So while my days at Just Dial, right, I clearly remember any small change across a button, right? It really impacts millions of users as soon as you roll out. And it obviously sees on your KPIs. So over there, you have to be typically, try and test things because every customer, every user is important to you, and any small change really, breaks or makes things for you. However, on B2B, if you ask me, it's like a slow kind of an approach. It's more of a relation-driven approach, is what I would say. Fewer moves, high stakes. Your product, if it doesn't really save time and money to the merchant or to the B2B guys, right? They won't really pay attention, no matter how great you build it. So with B2B, you have to be more research oriented, you know, be more problem solving oriented because it's an entire industry you're solving for. It's not individual users. B2C is individual users. So my
Correct.
approach always is do for B2C, go with, A/B testing, roll out features in small. Whereas with B2B, do offline interactions, go visit your merchants if possible, or do a dry run again with smaller merchants so you'll understand and then you can scale it out. Answering your next question, how deep PM should go into data. Um I strongly feel as a PM, when you start building anything also, right? Metrics are something that you should always plan for because no matter, how great your product is or how great you feel about it or how much you love it, until and unless it's not adding any value, until and unless it's not getting consumed by users, there's no point someone is going to keep it in their app, right? Just
Correct.
because you like a feature which is cool, but it's not consumed by anyone, people are not going to keep it. So if you ask me, yes, you should
Mhm.
have your metrics. You should have your basic tools that a PM should know. Tools like all MarTech tools, CleverTap, Mixpanel, Google Analytics, Firebase. You should have an idea on that. You should define your events. You define your events. What are the key things that you want to observe, and start making your own funnels. Now, the only reason why I say that is because you should not always be totally dependent on a research or an insight from a third person, right? You should know to have everything, but you should also be curious enough to dig into things by yourself. If you're rolling out a feature, whether drop-offs are happening. It will help you to make the decisions better and plan your roadmap. Founders and tech teams always want to push things behind. Someone wants to
Correct.
push their things behind, but only if you back it up with data, with a high level knowledge. So it takes you, it helps you make an informed decision is what I would say. So you should definitely
Correct.
do that.
So data, if I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Data, like you mentioned, it acts like a compass in each and every case, whether you're building any kind of tool. It's just the audience changes everything. What would be the product features and what would be the strategy followed?
Correct. Because even when you roll out, right, when you roll out a new feature,
Mm.
you always have certain expectation, right? Like I would have some market research and then post that I'm expecting that, okay, 20% of engagement time goes high or something or the other happens, right? But if you don't, kind of have any metric to tie it to, you wouldn't know whether it's getting consumed or not. I have been in personally been in situations where the CEO has pushed certain things because they loved it. However, when we went live in 2 scenarios, it didn't work. Whereas in 6 scenarios, it worked. So you
Correct.
always have to, even back it up with data. So even if you're going in the right direction. So you should know your
Right.
stuff.
Amazing. That's a very helpful reminder as well to take care of your audience. And data, of course, plays a very, very, very crucial role in each and every case.
Yeah,
So everything,
so
yes.
just to tie it up to the previous question as well, right? When you said
Mm.
there are so many things that are happening, right? Now, even when you choose something, you want to pick something, deliver something, right? You
Mm.
want to back it up with data that, okay, you know what, when I said it would have hurted us later, see, now the conversions have gone up. So you also, people start building trust in people that, okay, whatever he's saying, he's done some homework and he knows his shit, kind of. So you sound more confident there.
Right. Definitely. Naveen, if somebody wants to build a career into product management and they've, of course, never worked into the industry, how can
Right.
they still build credibility and land into a proper product manager role where this person is allowed to build features from scratch?
So, I mean, one of the best PMs I know, right? She started writing LinkedIn post, and what was the content of his post was just breaking down
Mhm.
popular apps,
Okay.
and giving his kind of view and takes on what feature could be added, what feature could be tweaked. So I would say someone should start from there. No one really hires you initially, but the
Right.
credibility kind of starts building by showcasing what you're thinking, what your thought process is, right? If you can think like a PM and share it publicly, right, and you know be out there in the market, opportunities will come to you. You don't need permission to start thinking like someone, right? Now, my suggestion to all fellow guys who are just starting their careers: take one or two popular apps which you use day in day out, be it WhatsApp, be it Zomato, be it YouTube, right? Take one or two features, put your thoughts on it. For example, take Swiggy and Zomato only, I would say, right? Try the onboarding flow on Swiggy, try the onboarding flow on Zomato, see what is better, put your views to it, see what can be simplified, and just ask, tag them and ask people. Also reach out to product communities here, product folks and all these guys. Whenever you're posting something like this, start it out, push it to them, push your ideas, put your thought process. You'll start seeing engagement, and you'll also have a different perspective, I would say, honestly. You start looking at things differently once you do that.
Definitely love that because it's about showing initiative and thinking like a PM than just to have a title for the sake of it. So
Yeah,
that's an amazing advice.
you start having a knack, I would say, of thinking and looking at things in that direction.
Correct. Definitely. Before we wrap up, Naveen, I have one final question for you.
Yeah.
If you, and this is my personal favorite question as well. So if
Uh-huh.
you can go back, if you could go back to your 25-year-old self where you're starting your career, what
Uh-huh.
would be the one piece of career advice would you give to your younger self?
Start asking questions like why, you
Uh-huh.
know, and start suggesting solutions as soon as you start understanding that. So, those small habits start compounding things. I really, was a quite hesitant person in asking, why are we doing this many times? But yes, I started and I learned a bit late, but it was obviously a bit late in my life. Initially, if you start asking questions, when you start being curious, okay, you just ask why. Why are we doing this? Out of your team, someone will come and explain why are we doing this, right? And then start giving your solutions that, okay, or start putting your thought to it that, oh, if we do something like the other way, don't you think this would be more helpful? So you will start developing that knack. So my advice would definitely be curious, start asking, start understanding why we are building certain things and what's going to be impacted. That would be like one
Love that.
good thing.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey. And it was a very, very clear advice. It was a proof that product careers are not built into, just curiosity, adaptability, and persistence, but it requires a lot of confidence and data driven information as well. So you have to be an all rounder if you want to be a product manager.
Be on your toes, I would say.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. And I'm sure all our listeners, especially those dreaming to become a product manager one fine day, will walk away more confident and informed. I personally loved it. I personally was able to understand each and every word of it. I'm not from the product management domain, but still, it was very easy to understand. It was very clear. Thank you so much for taking out time for this.
Thank you for having me, Shruti. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you so much. To all our listeners, keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep building. See you on next time on Expert Matters. And you follow Naveen on LinkedIn if you want to become a product leader like him one fine day. Thank you so much. Thanks, Naveen.
Thank you, Shruti.